Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to FTB Interactions. So I have been doing a little work, not just around the base, but on the pack itself. To give you guys an update, Sphere did send me a save file for the world, so I was able to switch it over into a single player world so that we can stop the crashing from happening, which is great. And I have been doing a little bit of stuff to boost the performance back up to make it a bit better on us. We are going to be going to the Nether today, and depending, I got to thinking we may not get to actually using the oil this episode. I know I said I was going to, but then I was like, there's a couple different ways that we can automate oil, and I think the way that I want to go, it's a little bit more effort because we're going to have to go out and try to find something that's kind of just a drop chance or a loot chance, but I think that setup will be a bit more fun. So we're going to be heading into the Nether today to do a little bit of on-screen dungeoning. But you can see over here there is some alteration to the way that it's set up, because when I got the world save file, it didn't have the back half of last episode, so I had to redo all of that. So I did get all this set back up, so we are producing our empowered crystals or our empowered seeds, and then we're making the empowered oil, just sending it down into an advanced mixer, which we already had made, and sending over into our basic portable tank here. Right now we still have 47,000 crystallized oil, 64 empowered oil, and another 90 buckets of empowered oil over here, so we're pretty good on empowered oil to get our system started here soon, but yeah. And I have been prepping up the stuff that we're going to be using for using that oil and setting up our power system. I've been getting that prep, so if we don't get to it this episode, next episode we'll move right through that pretty quick. It's all pretty straightforward to craft, and we're just going to be setting it all up. I also did get our brine system moved. It is actually, you can kind of see it out there. It's on the side of the building there. And it's set up identical to the way that we had it before. So anyways, what we are going to be doing today, to kind of get started here, you can see I did go ahead and grab a second row of healing fragments, and I cleaned up our backpacks a bit. So we do have space to store things. We're going to be popping into the Nether, and we are going to be looking for a Nether Wart chicken. It's only found in Nether Dungeons, and I'd like to hopefully get our hands on one of those. That's the goal. And I did reset the Nether, so it should be, if we find another dungeon, it should be unlooted, and we also have a glider with us. So yeah, you can see that our old little shell that we had built is no longer here. This is a freshly spawned Nether dungeon, but that is, or a Nether, but that is fine. Alright, and what we're going to be looking for are the Nether Dungeons. So let's just head off. I'm thinking we'll head out over in this direction. I will probably be resetting a lot of the overworld as well at some point. But I haven't gotten around to that yet. But I have reset all the other dimensions. So a lot of the compact machines and things of that nature will have been reset now, which I think is where a lot of the lag comes from. I'm not a huge fan of compact machines. I know it's generally brought up that compact machines, it makes the world run better, but it doesn't actually. It just increases your FPS, not your TPS, because it still exists. It's still generating all that lag. It's not super performance impacting, I don't believe. Here is a Nether dungeon, so we'll just come in here, and I'm just going to start breaking off the spawners. I saw a chest. I think it's down, yeah, right down here. Liquid Translocators. There we go, and we got a quest complete for that. That looks to be, I think, all that's in here, so we'll continue into the bulk of the dungeon, which will be over here. And we'll start we'll start going through this. Now, I've been through a little bit of an overworld dungeon. Of course, we did that on camera a bit back. Didn't actually do too much of it. And then I did find some other dungeons that were already looted, so I didn't do anything there either. But it seems like most of the dungeons were attacked already, so didn't mess with them too much. This dungeon does seem kind of calm compared to the majority of the dungeons. Doesn't seem like there's a ton of spawners. Oh, there we go. That was actually extremely lucky. So, yeah, we don't actually need to... I'm going to have a quick look around. In here, I was honestly expecting to spend a bit longer in here. You can see there is some blazing pyrotheum. I do know, like, last time around, we farmed these for wither skeleton skulls initially. Of course, we don't really need to do that at the moment, but... But there does tend to be a lot of wither skeletons. Arcane lamps. Ancient curiosities, which I guess I really don't need those at this point, since we got the creative Thaumonomicon, but... And I was like really prepared. I repaired my... Oh, I must have came in... Oh, okay. Let's see. I repaired up my sword. I was like, man, we're going to probably have to spend a while in the nether. I tend to have... Well, I don't know. I tend to have pretty decent luck, I guess, but... I just honestly expected having to spend longer. I mean, I guess if we look around for a minute, we might find another nether wart chicken. I don't think there's any more that come from dungeons. At least nothing... Oh, this is a boss. I think this is a boss room. You're spawning down here. There we go. Energy acceptor, silky jewel. Okay, we'll take that stuff. Oh yeah, here we go. We got dense smart cables, divination sigil. We'll take that. Basic laser gun. Those are kind of nice, and it was brought up in the comments. I believe that is what we used last time around instead of magic to get the Spectre stuff started. The laser guns. It was brought up in the comments a bit back, so just a heads up there. And oh, that's item translocators there. I don't know why I'm grabbing all the dice, just habit. They're not that useful. They are somewhat useful if you need like random placement stuff, but we did get a Lux Saber. Those are actually pretty nice. Crimson Blade with greater sapping. That's actually kind of cool. Interdiction torches, 4 of those. Those are useful. Impulse item ducts. Exchanging gadget. Flask, might as well. We have Boots of the Traveler with mending. Diamonds. This appears to be, I think, another boss room here. So we'll really, really quickly knock out the spawners. And we're stocking up on blaze rods, which is good. Okay, we'll see what this room has for us. We got a tier 3 graphics card. Range upgrade for our scanner. We have a Sigil of Nature's Leaf. Falling Canard. It's not bad. Even though we've got these, I don't know how much we'll really use it. Infinity Steel Reinforced Bow. We'll take that for sure. Obsidian Water Walking Boots. We've got a Robo Surgeon. That's awesome because I was actually planning on getting one of those before too long. And that just saves me having to craft it. And we got some Night Ore. Soulstone. Might take that soulstone with us when we go to space or something. Sheep disguise. Formation cores, we'll take that for sure. We were basically having, we tried to get it sorted, but there was basically some bases being loaded. And that seems to always be the case. There's mods, right, that introduce their very own ways that they chunk load. Which is cool in theory, except for chunk loaders in mod packs are already plentiful. I hate whenever mods add their own ways that they chunk load. Because then they all tend to basically just compound so much. Infernal Deconglomerator. We'll definitely take that. That's one of those dungeon-only blueprints. But they tend to just compound to the point where it's really hard after a certain point to figure out what is chunk loading. Oh, we got another boss room here. Yeah. Snap that off before we have any more spawns. Oh, I saw Crimson Right's book there. But sometimes it's hard to figure out what is causing the loading, you know, because you have all these mods that want to do their own loading instead of just leaving it to chunk loaders to do that. What do we get? A broken infused crystal axe. We'll take that. Air charm, not that useful at this point because we're going to be going for flight before too long. Main thing I was wanting to do is get into HV first before we push on for that. We've got arcane crafting terminal, fire charm. We've got another jackhammer. Okay, not much of anything back here. I think that's probably good. We found what I was really after. So I'm going to go ahead and teleport home, which we do have the 5-second counter now. Because back on the server, of course, I was an admin. But on here, it's just, you know, it's just regular play. Okay, we got our chickens bred up. I've got 16. I'm going to go ahead, though, and breed up an extra set of these. And the reason being, I'm going to want a couple of these later on. This system, we're not going to pull any of the nether wart that we're going to be making from these chickens. We're not going to pull it out from the system. But I am going to be wanting some nether wart production later on. So I think I'm just going to have an extra set of chickens. That way we can have this just be dedicated to producing oil, which we can then speed up as we need to. Now over here I've got a chest of some things prepped up. Let's go ahead and grab a few things here. That I just put in here just to get it out of my inventory. And let me pop back downstairs. And down here where we had this system set up with our mechanical user, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our mechanical user. And this lens is the one from the quest, so it's got the 900 size, 100% purity, and 100% cutting. I'm going to grab a couple item conduits. Pretty simple setup coming up. A lot like this system that we did over here. What we're going to do is we're going to have, and you know what, we're actually not going to need these. I went to set it up and then it was like, oh yeah, wait a second. What we are going to need though is a compressor. So that's gonna, yeah, I'll tell you what, let's do that. Right, and then we'll have the roost setting. We'll do an item conduit here and the roost setting here. Extract is always active into an insert on the compressor. The chicken's going through, and that's basically going to take it. It's going to compress it. I might actually want to speed this up with an MV compressor. Possibly. Probably, honestly. If not long term, having a larger system for making this. But since we make our oil go so far right now, I don't know if it's really going to be necessary. We'll just have to see. But chances are I probably will make a larger system for this, because I think I'm going to want a bit more than that. Alright, so then what we're going to do is we are going to put in a cache. The cache will set right here. We'll say that, let me grab our wrench. We'll go to the bottom, auto output, and it's going to start outputting that nether wart block into there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, let's see, how do I want to do this? Honestly, I tell you what, I'm going to change up these systems, these colors that we're using. This one we're going to be doing on the magenta line. Then here we'll be doing a light blue. And then we'll do yellow on this last one here. Then what we'll do is we'll just connect up these cable lines so that they run across. And that will be fine for us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up our mechanical user setting here. We're going to say that you're going to be able to insert, but it's going to be on the lime channel. And then from here, you can extract. Let me grab some of this leftover stuff. We're going to say upper left slot only. And we'll just fill this in. There we go. And we'll say place block. It's a right click. And then over here, we're going to say that you are going to be able to extract on that lime channel. It's going to send it over to the mechanical user. It's going to place it down. And then we'll just put a lens in. Setting, say, here. Grab our linking tool. And we'll just link that. Actually, I don't even need this. In my head, I was like, I'm going to move it really, really far or something, but no. I'll just send it straight down to the nether wart block. It's going to change it over to soul sand. There we go. And then, of course, if this soul sand gets broken, let me grab that out. It's going to place another piece of nether wart and rinse and repeat. Now, what we're going to do as far as breaking, let's see, the auto breaker would just take a void crystal, and that can be made this method here, which is a bit better, which we're going to get to, but we can do it right now with just coal dust and gallium in the Phytogenic Insulator. And I just need 9 of them, so let's actually do that. Let's do coal dust and gallium dust. And that's going to have to be in the Phytogenic Insulator. Let me just pull out this stuff for just a moment. We'll get that running. And let it make us our black crystal shards. And actually I only need 9 of these. I don't know why I got 10. So there's our 9 black crystal shards. And to make these, and the rest of this is all really, really easy, but to make, oh, it's just crafted out. So we'll go ahead. There we go. There's our void crystal. Okay, so MV machine casing, program circuit, and void crystal. Oh, it doesn't consume that, I guess. There is our auto breaker. Okay, I went ahead and got a few things together. So what we're going to do, the way this is going to work, let's go ahead. Do I want it here or do I want it here? I think I want it here. Let's put in a lever right there. And that's basically just to power off the breaker for a moment. And we're going to put our breaker down right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in, let me grab some dirt. We're going to put dirt into all these slots of the breaker. And then in this last one, we're going to put in soul sand. And then we're going to put a input routing node here. And it's just going to sit right there. The redstone will be affecting it right now, but that lever is going to be gone here in just a second. And then what we're going to do, and this is so we don't have to worry about filtering or reading what this block is to activate the breaker. It's just an easier setup overall. We're going to put the input routing node here, or do I want it on top? No, I'll put it back here. And we're going to put in here a precise filter. This is going to be on the south side. So let's go ahead, let's set it to south side. We're going to put in that precise filter, and we're going to grab soul sand. We're going to put that in. And we're going to say 1 right there. So leave 1 soul sand in here at all times. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that node and we're going to connect it up. I know I've got some other item nodes in places, but I think this one I'm going to leave as a dedicated line. I think. In a lot of cases I like dedicated lines, and honestly in this pack master nodes are so cheap that there's no real reason not to do it, I don't think. And what we're going to do, we're going to switch out this unrouted transport pipe. We're going to switch it out for a chassis Mark 1. And inside this chassis Mark 1, we're going to go ahead and just put in a provider module into this. And that's just so that our system can see that we have soul sand available. So we're going to put that in right there. And then on top of this, we're going to put our output node right there. I really don't need this second precise item filter, I don't guess, since it is a dedicated line, since the cache will be filtering the output anyways. And I'm going to go ahead and grab what soul sand I do have, just to go ahead and add this in. We'll do that, we'll lock it, and then we're going to set up a master routing node that controls this little system here. And we're going to put this just sitting right there. Connect that to that. And then connect our master. Our master's connected right now, as you can see. Okay, so if we pop over to our, I didn't realize I already grabbed that connection, but if we pop over to our breaker, oh, you know what though? No, we're gonna have to set this to 9, and the reason being is because it's reading the dirt. I forgot with the nodes, we're gonna have to set it to 9 because it's gonna see this dirt. It's gonna count it. Even though it's not soul sand, it is going to count it when we're using minimum amounts. So now, for example, if we pop over, let's grab a stack of this soul sand. But this works just fine because it's still only going to leave 1 soul sand in there. We place that into there, you can see that it's going to pull out all of it except for 1 piece of soul sand. It's going to keep 9 items total within this breaker. Okay, so now what we can do is we can remove the redstone on this. And you're going to notice the breaker will now begin breaking the soul sand, but since it can't place the nether wart block anywhere in its inventory, it's not going to break it. These auto breakers will kind of work like on sort of like a filter system if you do that. As far as breaking goes. So they're actually really, really useful. And now we don't have to worry about reading what block is placed down here, and it's just going to break it as soon as it becomes soul sand and immediately send it over. And we only have to keep 1 soul sand buffer in that breaker. So now we're producing soul sand. Probably long term we'll want to speed that up a little bit, but for now that will be fine for us. Okay, so now that we've got that in place, what we're going to do is we're going to put in, let's see, let's go over and get our centrifuge. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set up our centrifuge. And so the way this is going to work is we're going to change out, we're going to have the centrifuge setting here. And let me go ahead and disconnect. I don't want this item connection to plug up. And then we're going to go ahead and snap that off. Just open this up a little bit. We're going to put our turbo diesel generator. We're going to go ahead and have a dedicated generator for this centrifuge. Now right now, of course, we don't have diesel, but we will here shortly. So I'm going to be using a turbo centrifuge. You can use a lower tier. It's not going to cause any issues. It's just I wanted it to be fast. Though I think right now our soul sand production will be kind of the It's basically going to be the slow point, but that's okay. We can speed that up later if we find that we need to, which we probably will, realistically. But this is kind of our initial HV system, and then once we get all this set up and our automation done, we can easily expand upon all of this. So we're going to put in a Logistics Chassis Mark 1 right here. We're going to open this up, and we're going to put in an active supplier module into this. And we're going to tell it that it's going to be feeding in soul sand. So that, and go ahead, let's keep 32. And we'll say partial's fine. I think that's what I want to do. So the centrifuge will receive that soul sand. And now, if we were to, we got a diesel cell. We also have an oil cell here. These are from the quest, kind of related to doing this. And let me go ahead and grab both these portable tanks also, because we are going to need these. So what we're going to do, we're going to set up our, let's see, that's 80 and 90. We'll go ahead and set up the 90 up here for oil. And we'll go ahead and just dump this oil cell into there. And then let me go ahead and just set this down. I don't want to put a bunch of diesel in this right this second. But we're going to go ahead and put that down. We'll go ahead and lock these in. And this centrifuge, we're going to go ahead and say up is the output side, and fluid auto output is enabled on that. And then let me grab a bucket of this, and we're going to dump it into the turbo diesel generator. And so if you notice, this is going to start centrifuging that soul sand. It's going to make saltpeter and sand, in addition to a chance for coal dust. All of these are a chance. Yeah, for right now, I'm probably just going to trash this stuff, but we are going to add in, I'll work on that, but we're going to add in something to use the coal dust and the saltpeter dust. That's going to make straight coal dust. I'll probably just store it as straight coal dust, honestly, and then straight saltpeter. Because we'll use that for making our gunpowder, and as well as some other stuff. So yeah, it's out of power now, but it has produced a bit of oil. We're up to 66 buckets, and we had, what, 64, I think? So for every bucket of diesel, we're going to produce like 2 buckets of oil, which of course will then produce, what is it? Oil is 5 times on whenever we do it with the crystallized canola, and then doubled again. So basically we're making 20 buckets of empowered oil for every bucket of diesel, and every bucket of empowered oil is making more than a bucket of diesel, or will be. So it's a pretty good conversion rate using the soul sand. Now right now, of course, we do need to speed up soul sand production, I think, a little bit. But we are getting 100 millibuckets of oil per piece of soul sand, so that's pretty good. And like I said, we can speed that up if we find that we need to. Now what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to go ahead and put an input routing node on top of this. And we're going to put in a fluid filter on the downside here. And let me grab a bucket of this oil. We're going to be using a fluid filter just to make this a little bit easier, or a fluid node system just to make this a little bit easier for us. So we'll send that over. I will plug this up with I do have one fluid provider pipe here. Yeah, this will be fine for right now. And we'll just plug that in right there. So oil will be connected up to our system, because we will use oil in some other places a little bit later on. But for right now, let's go ahead and put our master routing node here. And we're just going to connect, nope. I want it to connect to that, not to that system. And then let me go ahead and connect this. And this is going to go basically just straight down to this mixer, because of course this one does take our oil. We're going to put a node right there. This is going to be on the north side. So north side will have a fluid filter with oil. And we're going to say keep 10,000 millibuckets in there. And then we'll just plug that up. And we're going to start getting oil sent over. I'm sorry, this is the west side. I thought that was an N and not a W. Okay, my bad. So, there we go. It's going to start sending that oil. And we're going to go ahead and say 10,000 millibuckets on that. So don't go above 10,000 millibuckets. But it's going to start sending its oil over. And then it will be producing our... Yeah, at a very quick rate, it's going to be producing our... crystallized oil, filling our tank back up, and filling this all up. And then at 10,000 millibuckets, it should stop. So there we go. Okay, so now we are producing basically infinite empowered oil at this point. Yeah, everything is quickly backing up on this. So now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a new multi-block. And this one is going to be set up right over in here. That's why I got rid of the brine system. It didn't need to go here. I wanted all of our oil processing system to be in one place. So we're going to be setting up a distillation tower. Now this is not an expensive multi-block. It is going to require some of those processor assemblies that we made last episode, but between quests and things and crafting up the rest of those, it wasn't too bad to get this made out, and the rest of it is mainly just a lot of stainless, and these kind of involved, but once again just more stainless for those. But we did need a fair few stainless steel casings for this, and then also the energy input hatch, which is HV machine hull, gold cable, not very expensive. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to set up our distillation chamber. Now, I noticed in my test world that this is one of the few multi-blocks that are pretty specific as to where you put the hatches, because I could not get it to form whenever I tried to move my fluid input hatch. So this has to be bottom middle on this, from what I saw. So we're going to set this up right there, I think. Yeah, that'll be good. And then we're going to put around it, we're going to put in just clean stainless like that. And these are just clean stainless steel casings. These are super cheap if you have the stainless, just like all the other machine casings. They're very, very cheap. And then over here we need an energy input hatch. We also need the distillation tower multi-block, or the controller. Then you need an item output. We're not actually going to be using this item output, but I had issues trying to get it to form without it. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be basically taking our empowered oil, and we're going to be processing this down into diesel so that we can actually start using it and burning it for lots of power. Okay, now you can go with an MV energy if you want, but I went ahead and went with HV because we're moving into HV. Why not? Now you can see right here 50 millibuckets of empowered oil is going to make us 90 millibuckets of diesel, 28 millibuckets of sulfuric naphtha, and 80 millibuckets of sulfuric gas. Now this sulfuric stuff will be useful in its own right, so we will be making use of that. But what we're really after right this second is diesel. And I don't have to worry about wasting some of this stuff initially because we're going to be producing diesel ongoing throughout the rest of the series, so we're going to have plenty of this stuff. That's the same with like the saltpeter and the coal. I'm going to add trash can support for that between episodes, and we'll start voiding some of that off. But we only are going to be producing 3 liquids, right? And if you take a look at the actual multi-block that it shows, it's really, really tall, being basically 6 total outputs, but only 5 of these are fluids. You can make this kind of as tall as you need it to be. We're only going to be going 3, so we're going to go ahead and just place out our output hatches just like so. And then the rest of this multi-block, I didn't make enough stainless. I think I made it for 3 high. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. That's fine. I'll make some more stainless. We've got a bunch of stainless built up, so basically getting us ready for HV. So there we go, that has formed, you can see. And what we're going to do is, let's dig down underneath this. And as you can see right there will be where we need to input our fluids. And if we come over a couple blocks, our portable tank is right here. Let's see, I can do this with logistics pipes, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So let me pop over real quick. Actually, I've got one of these in my bag here. We'll just plug that up, and we're going to say that we want empowered oil. That keep 5,000 in there. That'll be fine. Partial, yes. Minimum mode 1 bucket. I think our storage on this is only like 16,000, I think. So we should, there we go. We have 5,000 millibuckets of empowered oil in the distillation tower input. Okay, so next up what we're going to do is the energy input hatch. What's it take for the cable, the good HV cable? Because I'm actually not sure what the zero loss, it is signalum cable. Alright, so we'll make up some of that. That's pretty easy, we've got a little bit of that. So we'll just put it in our turbo diesel generator here and have our signalum wire connect up. And what we're going to do next, let me pop over. I've actually got a couple things that I had crafted up before. I didn't realize these were this cheap until last episode. We're going to be using a fluid transfer node for a couple things because we're going to be moving diesel over to so many places. So we're actually going to be moving the diesel using our fluid transfer node a little bit. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and put this down for just a moment. Let's grab a bucket of this diesel, and we're going to dump it into this turbo diesel generator. So you're going to see that this is going to start running for us, and you can see it's processing that empowered oil at a pretty fast rate when it has that turbo diesel plugged up to it. And if you notice, we are producing, for 1 bucket of diesel, we are producing a fairly large amount of diesel. I'm kind of curious to see how much diesel we produce with a single bucket of diesel. We're not even halfway done yet. So we're producing diesel, we're producing sulfuric naphtha, and we are producing sulfuric gas. Awesome. And then that diesel, what we're going to do with it is we're going to have it go basically just straight into a, let's see, do I want it to go into the fluid transfer node and then feed over to a tank? I'm thinking yes. And we'll use an ender fluid conduit just to make sure we have plenty of speed for this, and because we're going to be doing some other stuff with these. So we're going to say extract and insert. Okay, so the sulfur or the diesel goes into here, and then it can be sent to the places where it needs to go. The first place I want it to go is to this turbo diesel generator. And if we take a look here, we produced almost 6,000 millibuckets. There would be some, I think, in the ender fluid conduit, but then also 10,000. So like 16,000 millibuckets for 1 bucket of diesel as far as power goes. So that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and apply this GPS marker. It's going to toss 16,000 millibuckets of diesel into here and start mass producing our diesel for us. Now the other place we need to put a GPS marker right this second, of course, is going to be this turbo diesel generator that produces our oil for us. So we'll go ahead and apply that also into here. And it looks like we have probably backed up on sulfuric gas. Yes. Alright, so for right now, we are going to be adding some storage in for this. But for right this second, what we're going to do is we're going to put in ender fluid conduits here. And this is going to be a temporary fix until I figure out where I want this sulfuric naphtha and stuff to go. Like I said, this is going to be something we're going to be producing so much of. It's not actually going to matter too much for us. So we're going to send it straight into a fluid trash can for the time being. That way we can keep producing our diesel. and basically be filling up and backing up this whole system with things like diesel and oil and all that good stuff. So if we take a look here, this has got diesel. It actually builds up at a very fast rate, and this will now be producing additional oil. I'm going to add in trash can support for that also, which I'll probably just have it feeding down into this system, and then it'll get crafted and back up basically to store up coal dust and saltpeter, I think. So I'll get that added in between episodes. We're also going to set up a GPS for this tank and have it basically stored and supplied to our system in addition to this fluid transfer node. But for right now, this is good. We now have diesel. We have plenty of diesel. Definitely by next episode. Of course, we aren't running on a server anymore. That's okay. We'll still back this up pretty quickly. And I'll be doing some work between episodes. I'm going to be doing some building and setting up because we're about to start moving into serious automation within this series and serious expansion. HV, it's kind of a push to get to HV, but HV is kind of the point, I think, whenever we really start spreading out, because now we have access to all the good benefits that HV has, plus diesel is actually a really good power system, I think. And just like Steam that came before, it's no overhead power. So it's just passive production. It can do its thing. You could see that, I mean, we're pretty much backed up on diesel at this point already, and it's only ran for a few minutes. We're producing a lot of diesel. And we have 34.1 buckets of oil. So basically 341 buckets of empowered oil, to give you an idea of like how crazy scaling it up with the empowered. And it's really an easy system. It's basically this right here is all it takes. So anyways, I'm going to end out this episode here. We have game, we saw, we conquered, we have diesel automated and free. That's great. So next episode, when we come back, we are going to be starting into some serious HV push. So I'm going to be doing a bit of prepping. I got to do some mining between episodes and some building and setting up to get us ready for that, as well as getting the oil system, the trash can and the compacting set up. It's just probably going to be arcane crafters, honestly, because I already made one extra anyways. So I'll be setting that up between episodes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.